When people hear sock puppet, they often imagine a spare account, register a new name, choose an image, and start using it. If verification uses a real phone, recovery points to a work mailbox, and the everyday browser remains signed in, only the outer label has changed. Platform data and ordinary public search may still lead back to the real identity. A proper investigation persona is an isolation system. Email, verification, username, avatar, browser environment, behavior, and retirement all follow a specific lawful task. The goal is not to win trust through deception. It is to prevent unnecessary investigator exposure when login or narrowly approved interaction is genuinely required.
Ask the question that may save the most work. Does this task need a persona at all? Company websites, court records, public news, and government notices usually require no social identity. Even when a platform requires login, a low-privilege account in an isolated browser may be enough. Every additional persona adds email verification, recovery, platform records, and maintenance. Create one only when task-relevant public material requires login and authorization permits it. Direct messages, friend requests, or access to restricted spaces materially change the risk and ethical boundary, so they require renewed approval. Write a purpose statement first. Use only to view recruitment posts visible after login, no direct messages, contact with ordinary applicants, or entry into restricted groups. If the purpose cannot be stated clearly, do not create the account yet.
Separation often fails through the phrase, just for convenience. The username is new, but messages forward to a real mailbox. Verification uses the everyday phone. Recovery links return to the work account. The avatar is new, while its follow name includes the investigator's real name. Each component exposes a small link. Together, they form a relationship chain. Review email, verification, username, avatar, and recovery individually. Do not reuse forum or gaming identifiers. Do not use images of yourself, friends, or an unrelated real person. Make sure the verification method can survive the account lifecycle rather than forcing real information into recovery later. Passwords do not belong in the design table. Record the controlled management location and responsible owner instead.
This page is a graph, not a profile form. Place the persona account in the center. Connect email verification, device, browser, network, media source, and owner. Then add behavioral links, typical activity time, followed accounts, and repeated language habits. For every line that reaches a real identity, ask whether it is necessary, who can observe it, and how it can be reduced. Some signals are invisible to a casual subject but visible to the platform, such as shared devices, address books, and behavioral similarity. Do not promise perfect anonymity. Record links that were removed and platform-side residual risks that cannot be independently verified. The graph reveals what a clean username can hide: recovery paths, synchronization services, and operational habits. Coherence does not require writing an elaborate fictional biography. A passive account may need only a broad region, ordinary interests, and appropriate language settings. Without a mission need, do not add a specific employer, school, credential, family, or life history. Every extra detail creates another contradiction and may misuse the identity of a real institution or involve an unrelated person. Coherence mainly removes obvious anomalies. A persistent conflict between profile region and system time may attract attention. Language ability may contradict the profile. The usual repair is to remove unnecessary detail, not to invent more story. The most stable persona is often the one with the smallest task-relevant profile.
Do not take a convenient portrait from image search. That face belongs to a real person and may create reverse search linkage, harassment, mistaken identity, and rights problems. Prefer material with clear permission or a synthetic image, then review it anyway. Check facial and background artifacts, accidental resemblance, watermarks, hidden text, and inappropriate symbols. Use more than one reverse image service when possible. Keep a source record with permission or generation method, date of use, and search result. Clean file names and metadata as well. A file called avatar_realname_work laptop can undo the rest of the isolation work.
A clean profile can still be linked through behavior. The real account goes offline and the persona appears 5 minutes later.
Both accounts use the same unusual punctuation. They follow the same niche profiles and repeat the same phrase. One signal may be weak. A stable combination becomes more persuasive. The reliable control is not better acting. It is less behavior. Prefer passive viewing, avoid unnecessary following, and do not reuse one persona across unrelated investigations. When interaction is approved, define the purpose, permitted questions, prohibited disclosures, and stop conditions before the conversation. Do not expand the character while responding under pressure.
A persona is not permission to interact casually. It is the final isolation layer when contact cannot be avoided. For the recruitment case, compare the company website, official hiring channels, domain information, contact email, and independent sources first. Many questions can be answered without sending a message to the suspicious account. If a gap remains, use the company's public phone or email before beginning an extended exchange with the subject. Where limited contact is authorized, ask only for the missing fact. What is the company's official application channel? Do not disclose which evidence has already been collected, and do not invent employment history to make the persona appear convincing. Requests for identity documents, private history, unknown attachments, or entry into restricted spaces should trigger the stop rule. Investigate the persona before the persona investigates anyone else. Search the username and display name. Review old platforms, caches, and similar accounts. Reverse search the avatar and background. From an ordinary external account, inspect public follows, mutual contacts, and recommendations. Check IP, time zone, language, login state, and the metadata of any file the persona may share. If a link appears, do not change only the visible field. The old avatar may remain in caches and screenshots. The previous username may still exist on another platform. Repeat the same test, and save before and after evidence with the date. Retest after major configuration changes, long inactivity, mission reassignment, or platform policy changes.
The account should know its exit date on the day it is created. Creation records the mission, authorization, components, and initial tests. Use records dates, subjects, actions, and resulting material. Maintenance reviews, recovery methods, profile coherence, and platform changes. Retirement stops login and interaction and revokes unnecessary links. Disposal follows evidence retention and legal requirements. Retirement is not the same as immediately pressing delete. Source screenshots, access records, and decision history may still be required for review. Export necessary evidence, confirm ownership and retention, then process recovery information and account status. An abandoned persona can later be compromised, reused without context, or carried into another mission. Lifecycle records prevent that drift. Design the minimum viable persona for the recruitment case. The task only requires viewing recruitment posts that are public after login. No direct message is planned. The components remain small. Isolated email, approved verification, new username, a neutral image with documented provenance, and a separate browser with synchronization disabled. The profile contains only a broad region and ordinary interests, with no real contacts and no active posting campaign. Before use, perform username search, avatar reverse search, browser state review, and recommendation testing. If real colleagues appear, pause and inspect the device, address book, and login environment before the account approaches the subject. This design has no rich fictional history. That is a strength. It fits the task and is easier to control and audit. The failed persona looks busy and convincing. It uses a portrait taken from the web, carries a complex school and employment history, joins local groups to age the account, and follows real colleagues. Its username matches an old gaming account, and recovery points to the everyday mailbox. When questioned, the operator keeps adding background details to preserve the story. The account may look more realistic, but isolation, legality, ethics, and maintainability are all weaker. Every detail can be checked, and every relationship can harm a third party. The repair is not a better fictional script. Return to the mission, minimal profile, isolated components, passive use, limited behavior, and a defined exit.
The persona record is a mission control document, not a character biography. Begin with purpose, authorizing owner, and validity period. The component section records email type, verification method, username, image provenance, and management responsibility without storing the real password. The environment section describes browser, device, network, and evidence paths. The behavior section lists permitted actions, prohibited actions, and approved contact script and stop conditions. Finish with exposure tests, residual risks, retirement date, and disposal requirements. A useful record can state, do not contact ordinary applicants, do not accept unknown attachments. Platform-side device correlation cannot be fully verified. Review retirement status 30 days after mission completion. Those boundaries are more valuable than a long list of invented hobbies. This is a design exercise. Do not register an account. Choose a passive task and explain why ordinary browser separation is insufficient. If you cannot explain that, do not create a persona may be the correct answer. When a persona is justified, map email verification, username, avatar, recovery, browser, and ownership without entering real sensitive values. Add 3 permitted actions, 3 prohibited actions, 2 exposure tests, and 1 retirement condition. Ask a classmate to inspect the graph from the subject's position and identify any control that cannot be verified. Lesson 25 moves into browser isolation. We will examine cookies, login state, extension synchronization, and fingerprinting to see why a clean profile can still be reconnected by its environment.